Yo, 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 what's going on? What's going on? What's going on, good people? Happy Tuesday. Happy Truthful, Tenacious Tuesday. We are back again with another episode of SRDaily. Peace and love. Peace and love. Thank you guys for joining me here. I don't know what happened. I had my title here at the bottom, but things change. All right. My bad. I'm trying to give me a second. Let me get this thing right over here. Peace and love, peace and love. Happy. What's going on? What's going on, good people? Uncle Kev, Puerto Rican, New York. What's the deal? Peace and love. How you doing? Happy Tuesday. We are back again with another wonderful episode of SR Daily. I am your boy, your host, LaShawn Sugar Ray. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. My bad. Headline: LaShawn Sugar Ray Marston. Good morning, my brother. It's your sister Anna. I know. What's going on? What's going on? Peace and love. Thank you for tuning in. We are here again with episode 285 of SR Daily. 285. Let's see what this is. This is like this. This is like that. We don't want it like that. Don't know what that is. Oh, rounded corners. We don't need rounded corners. But we are here going to get the show started. Give me 1 second. Let me just go on over here and hit this button. Get some more people into the chat. Woman Warrior Shantae 82. What's going on? Peace and love. Thank you for tuning in. On Instagram, we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. We are live on Instagram. We are not live on TikTok, although TikTok is still here. We are not there right now. The most consistent platforms are Facebook and YouTube as I stream through my StreamYard. Peace and love. Robert Jackson, what's going on, good brother? Peace and love. Robert Jackson, what's going on, man? I ain't seen your name pop up in a long time. Happy New Year and all of that good stuff. Or is it too late to wish people a Happy New Year? I say you wish everybody a Happy New Year until the New Year is over. You know what I mean? As long as you ain't saying it every time you see somebody, right? Don't wish me a Happy New Year every single time you see me. But if you ain't seen me, if you ain't heard from me, and it's your first time hearing from me in a year, I don't care if it's March, I don't care if it's June. Say Happy New Year. Yo, Mona Love, what's going on, baby girl? Happy Tenacious and Truthful Tuesday. We are back. We are going to get the show rolling. We got a pretty interesting show today, man. We're gonna got some stuff we're going to read, right? Stuff we're going to talk about. But as always, we're going to start our first show. Our first segment is a quote of the day, right? Today's quote is very simple, man. Yesterday was, of course, MLK Day. We did a pop-up speak out in Queensbridge, 4 o'clock. Myself, Brother Frank, my love, Mona Love came out. Very small crew. But powerful message, man. It was absolutely freezing yesterday. I did not have my gloves on. My hands got really cold and red. And it took a long time to warm up and to feel better. But of course, with patience, with time, everything for the most part gets better. But let's start the show. Once again, this is episode 285. I'm your boy, your host, LaShawn Sugar Marston. You are tuned into SR Daily, where personality meets enlightenment. And today's quote is from Dr. Reverend MLK, our late great ancestor. An injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. An injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I mentioned it yesterday in my talk, right? That is a quote from MLK, of course. I mentioned yesterday during my talk that there are people who quote that. There are people who share that quote. There are people who use that quote. Yet they are not in the uproar when there's injustice happening to other people. They get upset when injustice happens to them, right? They are upset when an injustice happens to their family, whether it's somebody being wrongfully convicted, whether it's someone being wrongfully terminated at their job, whether it's, the healthcare system not adequately, treating a loved one. People get upset all the time when injustice is happening to them, to their family. Yet they quote this: an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, but they are not up in arms about the injustices that are happening to other people. That is what we call fake, phony, and fraudulent. There are a lot of fakes, phonies, and frauds out there, unfortunately. right? Some of us live with them. We live amongst them. They are our parents. They are our siblings. Sometimes they are our spouses, right? And we got to be very, very aware of who's around us. We got to be very aware of the energy of those people around us, specifically as it relates to one of the most important things when it comes to being a human, and that is justice. Freedom, justice, and liberation. You cannot have peace if there is no justice. Truly, right? You cannot be at peace. You may act peaceful, but you are not at peace within yourself if you have not experienced justice. And or when your people, those who you know and love, are experiencing injustice, you are not at peace. So why are you at peace and why are you happy when there are other people that are experiencing injustice? I get that they may not be your family, they may not be your loved ones, you may not like them, you may not care about them, but that says a lot about you as a human. Again, I use this, I've said this a few times on the show. Mike Tyson quoted someone, I don't remember who he quoted, but the quote was, "We are all born human. We have to be taught how to be humane." And it rings more and more true every single day. We are all born human, yet we have to be taught how to be humane. A lot of you have no humanity in you. A lot of you are happy or seemingly simply uncaring when there are other people facing injustices by way of discrimination, prejudice, brutality, and terrorism. I've heard people say with my ears, I've read it with my eyes. Where were they when we were being violated? Right? You talk about Palestine. They say, where were the Palestinians when we were being violated as black folk? It's like, are you worried about the individuals that helped you, that didn't help you? Or are you more focused on being who you are supposed to be, keeping your integrity? Your integrity means that you're going to do what it is that you say you're going to do, regardless of what other people have done or do. So even if no Palestinians came to your rescue as a black man or black woman, it is still your responsibility to fight for their liberation. To some degree, right? I understand maybe not being full in, right? Like you're like, yo, y'all didn't help. But understand that black and Palestine, we've always had a connection. So now let's talk about our Mexican brothers and sisters, our Venezuelan brothers and sisters, our Colombian brothers and sisters, our brothers and sisters from below the border who are coming to America to seek asylum, they're running away from trouble, coming to what is supposed to be paradise and facing more trouble. And we, people who are here, are doing nothing about it. Why? A lot of times it's because we have been conditioned, we have been duped to fight a cultural war, to fight an ethnic war with our brothers and sisters who have a shared history, rather than fighting a class war against the people who continue to get richer and richer and richer and continue to further the divide between rich and poor, to continue to further divide between black and brown people. It's a problem. It's a problem that we got to stand up and fight. It's a problem that we got to stand up and address. It's a problem that we should not be comfortable and complacent enough to just sit by and act like it can't happen to us. It won't happen to us. That's not being human, family. That's not being humane. That's not being a revolutionary. That's not being a freedom fighter. That's not being a G at all, by no stretch of the imagination. Right? We got so much work to do in this country. So much work to do in this country. I said it yesterday. If you are a human being, it is your right, responsibility, and your duty and obligation to fight for the freedom, justice, and liberation of all human beings. That's your responsibility. Whether you take it on or not, that's another thing, right? A lot of us have responsibilities that we don't take on. It's facts. But that's your responsibility. And if you are not taking that on, then sit on the sideline. Sit on the sideline and then don't complain. And don't complain when things happen to you. I mean, we see it all the time, right? We see it all the time in the peace movement, right? Someone gets shot in the neighborhood. Unfortunately, someone dies in one of our communities, and we're out there rallying, we're protesting, we're holding a press conference, we're demonstrating, we're organizing, we're passing out flyers. Come out to the press conference, come out to the press conference, come out to the rally, come out to the town hall, come to the meeting, sign this petition, do this thing, and people are like, oh, I don't have time, oh, I'm busy, oh, I don't see what that has to do with me. And then when they lose a loved one, they want everybody to come out to their loved one's funeral, come out to the rally, come out to the protest. And those of us who care continue to show up, even though they didn't show up when we asked. We see it all the time. That happens. I've seen that so much where a man or a woman will be too busy to get involved. Yet when their son or their daughter or their brother or their sister or their cousin or their parent is murdered in the street, whether by police or by somebody who they live next to, somebody who they may know, they want people to come out for them. They want people to come out to show them love and support. But where were you? The more people get involved when it doesn't have anything directly to do with them, not only the more powerful we are, not only the more noise we make, not only the more serious we are taken, but now if something does happen to your family or your friends or to you, you already have a community of support that's going to be there because you support it. You got to give love to get love, man. Give love, give love, give love first. Stop waiting for people to show you love. Give it, give it, give it, give it. So that when you do need it, it is there. When you do need it, people are there for you and with you. Let us move right along to our second segment of the day. Today's second segment, Needs to Know News of the Day. Sad news, tough news, man. Migrants were stranded yesterday morning when their appointments to enter the U.S. legally were canceled as Trump was sworn into office, as their appointments to enter the U.S. legally were canceled as Trump was sworn into office. Let's read this article. Migrants, this is from AP News, Associated Press. Migrants stranded when thousands of appointments to enter the U.S. are canceled. This is from Julie Watson and Megan Janetsky. This was yesterday evening, last night, 9:24 p.m., January 20th, 2025. Tijuana, Mexico. They came from Haiti, Venezuela, and around the world, pulling small rolling suitcases crammed with clothing and stuffed animals to occupy their children. They clutched cell phones showing that after months of waiting, they had appointments, finally, to legally enter the United States. Now, outside a series of North Mexico border crossings where mazes of concrete barriers and thick fencing eventually spill into the United States, hope and excitement evaporated into despair and disbelief moments after President Donald Trump took office. U.S. Customs and Border Protection announced Monday that the CBP, Customs and Border Protection One app that worked as recently as that morning, as yesterday morning, would no longer be used to admit migrants after facilitating entry for nearly 1 million people since January 2023. Tens of thousands of appointments that were scheduled into February were canceled, applicants were told. That was it. There was no way to appeal and no one to talk to. If you think that this is not freaking insane, if you think that this is okay, if you really believe that there is not enough space in this country for our brothers and sisters from southern border to enter, then I encourage you to really think about how much space is in this country. And so clearly maybe the way things are right now, right, with freaking animal agriculture taking up tons of freaking acres, thousands and thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of acres to simply feed animals that are going to be killed and slaughtered for your greed. If you think that having mega churches to support your religion in neighborhoods where people are homeless is okay, then you, my brother and sister, you are part of the problem. If that's what you believe wholeheartedly, then you are part of the problem. Make space for your people. Make space for your neighbor. Insane. In Tijuana, where 400 people were admitted daily on the app at a border crossing with San Diego, Maria Mercado had to work up the courage to check her phone. Tears ran down her cheeks as she finally looked. Her family's appointment was for 1 p.m., 4 hours too late. We don't know what we are going to do, she said, standing with her family within view of the United States. She left Colombia decades ago after it was overrun by drug cartel violence, heading to Ecuador. When cartels besieged her new homeland, the family fled again in June, this time to Mexico, hoping to reach the U.S. I'm not asking the world for anything, only God. I'm asking God to please let us get in, she said. Immigrants around her hugged or cried quietly. Many stared ahead blankly, not knowing what to do. A nearby sign urged people to get the CB1 app. This will facilitate your processing, it said. But clearly, she had the app. Many had the app, and appointments were canceled. CBP1 has been wildly popular, especially with Venezuelans, Cubans, Haitians, and Mexicans. Now, they were stranded at the U.S. border or deeper in Mexico. Gyro Polo, 38, tried getting an appointment for 6 months from Mexico City before snagging one for Wednesday in Matamoros, across from Brownsville, Texas. The Cuban man flew Monday from Mexico's capital to learn at the Matamoros Brownsville border crossing that his appointment was canceled. Imagine how we feel, he said dejectedly while smoking a cigarette. People with morning appointments got through on schedule. Andrum Roman, a 28-year-old Venezuelan, was in the last group to cross the border with the CBP-1 in Ciudad Juarez, across from El Paso, Texas. We are a little safer now because we are here, he said just before handing over his documents to U.S. authorities. But you still don't know what's going to happen, he said. Another Venezuelan, Robert Caruzzi, entered El Paso right behind him. I reached the border twice and I was returned twice, but I didn't lose hope, he said. By afternoon, the app was down. CBP1 is effectively a lottery system that give appointments to 1,400 to 1,450 people a day at one of 8 border crossings. People enter the U.S. on immigration parole, a presidential authority that former President Joe Biden used more than any other president since it was introduced in 1952. Its demise follows Trump's campaign promises and will please its critics, who see it as an overly generous magnet attracting people to Mexico's border with the United States. Despite a glitchy launch in January 2023, it quickly became a critical piece of the Biden administration's border strategy to expand legal pathways while cracking down on asylum for people who enter illegally. Supporters say it brought order amid the tumult of illegal crossings. I still want to ask, I really want to talk to folks about the idea of illegal crossings and the people who support it, who support everything legal. It's so much to unpack, so much to talk about, so many feelings, so many thoughts. Let's keep reading, finish up this article. Many migrant shelters in Mexico are now occupied largely by people who tap their phones daily hoping for an appointment. U.S. Customs and Border Protection says about 280,000 people try daily for the 1,450 slots. And I get that there's a lot of people, but that means that we got to figure out how to make other countries better, how to protect. If we are citizens of the world, we have to care about the world. We have to care about all of our brothers and sisters everywhere who are struggling simply to maintain life. Many migrant shelters. I read that already. I'm so sorry, guys. The demise of CBP1 will be coupled with the return of Remain in Mexico, a remnant of Trump's first term that forced about 70,000 asylum seekers to wait in Mexico for hearings in U.S. immigration court. Matthew Hudak, who retired last year as deputy chief of the Border Patrol, said the demise of CBP1 could encourage people to cross illegally. Of course it's going to. To be effective, it must be coupled with something like Remain in Mexico, he said. The message with CBP1 being shut down is basically, hey, we're not going to allow you to show up. The doors are not going to be open. For that to be meaningful, there has to be some level of consequence if you bypass any lawful means and you're doing it illegally, he said. News of CBP1's abrupt end shocked migrants across Mexico. Juan Andres Rincon Ramos, a 19-year-old Venezuelan, cried with joy in early January when he got an asylum appointment through CBP1 after months of trying. It was a lurch of hope after 5 years living in Peru and 7 months in Mexico, struggling to reach the U.S. where his brother lives in Pittsburgh. In the makeshift Mexico City migrant camp where he lives, the fantasy of a life he dreamed for himself evaporated when he got the notification that his appointment had been canceled. It was a moment of hope, but it didn't last, he said. Everyone trusted in the American dream, but we were all wrong. Janetsky reported from Mexico City. Associated Press journalist Tim Sullivan in Minneapolis, Elias Spagat in San Diego, Valerie Gonzalez in Matamoros, Mexico, and Martin Silva in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico contributed. Insane, 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 insane. I am at a loss for words. I don't know what to say. Um, but I do know that we have to continue to organize. I believe wholeheartedly that there is more than enough space in the U.S. if we make some changes, if we make some adjustments. Get rid of the mega churches. You don't need the mega churches. You don't need the mega churches. We don't. Is no reason you need a whole block for your church. Get rid of it. Get rid of the mega mosque. Like when it comes to housing, when it comes to space needed for housing, that housing should be the priority, right? It's so much to do, guys. Again, my heart hurts. I cannot imagine waiting months to get into a country that you were told is for your sovereignty, is for your safety. You can go to when you need help. I can't imagine waiting, getting an appointment, getting to the border, and it being shut down, the app being shut down, and now you can't get in. Legally, when you did things legally, you did things legally. People should be safe in their home. If people are leaving their country because they do not feel safe, they should be let in. And if the issue is space, we should figure it out. Again, as I mentioned it yesterday, make space for your neighbor. Make space for your fellow human. Guys, we're going to move right along with the show to our third segment of the day. Today's third segment, our tip of the day. Tip is very simple. Agree to disagree. Agree to disagree. You don't have to always argue your point. You don't always have to argue how you feel. You don't always have to argue what you think, especially with people who you love. Agree to disagree. It's a solid tip. All right. You're not always going to agree with your friends, nor will you always agree with your spouse, your partner, your children, your siblings, your parents, or anyone really. You're never going to always agree with anybody, regardless to how similar you are, regardless to how close in proximity your lifestyles are, regardless to how blood related you are. You're not going to always agree, and that's okay. Right? People are different. We have different feelings and different thoughts about things, and that's okay. One example is that President Trump. People have different feelings. Some people are happy, some people are sad, some people are afraid, some people are depressed, some people all of people's feelings are valid. But the humanity is found in a common thread. And again, I go back to the quote of the day. If any one person, any one human is experiencing injustice, it is your right, responsibility, and obligation as a human to hear them and to work to alleviate their pain, their feelings, their suffering, whatever it is. It's your responsibility, man. Like that's what being a human is, right? But the key is to be respectful and to always remember your humanity and the humanity of others. You're not going to always agree. You can agree to disagree. My love and I, we agree to disagree on some things. Okay, you're right, right? Like we don't have a desire to be right, right? Like individually, collective, like against each other. No, it's not about that, right? Like, yeah, like debates are great. Healthy debates, sharing your perspective, sharing your opinions. And I guess by definition, right, my boy, if he was like, well, that is an argument. It is. So like argue, but the arguments don't have to turn into hate speech. They don't have to turn into I'm not talking to you no more because you have a different feeling, a different opinion, right? Like on one thing. Because other things I may be able to learn from you on, right? Like that's something I've had to learn. Like, yeah, I may not like that you did that thing, right? But can I still learn from you here? Right. And now I guess some things are inexcusable, right? Like you doing, like, yeah, you may love animals, you may be vegan, but you rape a child. I don't care how many animals you love. I don't care how vegan you are. You rape a child. I'm not dealing with that. So I understand hard cutoffs. We all have our hard cutoffs. Like this is a hard no. You do this, I'm not dealing with you. You do this, I'm not dealing with you. Right? You don't do this when it's time. I'm not dealing with you. All of that is real. All of that is valid. I understand it. All right. We're gonna move right along to our fourth and final segment. Before we get out of here, our fourth segment, our build of the day. Today's build, I want to talk about parenting your parents. Right, parenting your parents. Right. Many of us grow up. Right. Many people grow up, and they become the parents of their parents. excuse me, burping. Meaning that your parents, right? Let's say, your parents grew up in a hostile environment. They grew up not receiving love. They grew up like not knowing certain things, right? Maybe they didn't, complete their education, high school diploma, GED, college. Maybe they didn't get that, and they got a job and they've been working a job their whole life, right, to provide for their children. Great, honorable, commendable. But there's some things they may be unaware of, like emotional intelligence, right? They may have zero emotional intelligence. So you, as the child, have to become the parent in the same way you will want the parent to talk to you when you were a child, or you talk to your children, patient with patience, with calmness, right? It's the same way you got to talk to your parent and explain things and make sure they understand. And sometimes you got to over explain, all right? And it's tough because parents are older, right? Your parents are older, and a lot of parents get stuck in their ways, right? A lot of people get stuck in their ways when they hit a certain age and life is going a certain way. Very few people are fluid and flexible into old age. Very few, right? A few, flexible, into old age, right? Fluid and flexible into old age. Many people get rigid, like this is how I've been doing things. This is the way I've always done things. This is the way it's always been. So this is the way it's gonna be. And it's like, okay, cool, but what if it's not working? What if it's not working for people that you love? So you may think it's working for you because you feel good about it. For example, a parent may feel good about hitting their child, yelling at their child, cursing at their child. I told you, but the child doesn't feel good. So, like, how is it really working for you? How is it working for you? You want people to respect your feelings, but you don't respect your children's feelings. You want people to respect your feelings, your thoughts, your opinions, your perspectives, but you don't respect the perspectives, the thoughts, the feelings, the opinions of freaking your own child. How? How? They're smaller than you, they're younger than you, they can't defend themselves, they don't have the language that you have. How are you mad that your feelings are being violated, but not mad that you are also in turn then violating the feelings, thoughts, opinions, autonomy of your child? Children are not here to be our slaves. They're not here to just do as we told. They're not here. They're here to learn, to grow. They're little people who are going to grow into big people, and we should treat them as such, right? And so, parenting your parents also goes with the theme or the idea that age ain't nothing but a number. Just because your parent or parent is a certain age, don't mean they know certain things. It doesn't, right? Like, everybody's raised differently. Everybody's in a different environment, geographic location, personnel environment, different parents, different rules, different structures, different schools. All of the things are different, right? So, like, just because your parents are older doesn't mean they know certain things that, quote unquote, they should know. Stop that. You should know better. No, I should. Maybe I should, but I don't. So, like, help me. If you care, help me. If you love your parents, help them, guide them, teach them, show them a better way to do things, right? And that's something that I'm working on in real time, like how to get my mom to be more respectful of other people's opinions, not to gossip so much and always have something negative to say about people or in general, right? Like, parenting your parents, yo. Like, how do we parent our parents, right? Like, it's a very real thing. Mona Love says there are so many abandoned houses, buildings that are not being utilized. Absolutely, talking about space, talking about making space for people. So many being abandoned. There are buildings and houses that people bought and they're holding. They're just holding it, right? Not being used. It's crazy. Mona Love said, absolutely, I am thankful for my growth. I know enough to know that I do not know everything. And that's wisdom. Knowing enough to know that you don't know everything and that your children can help you, can teach you, can show you a better way to do things, right? It's very real, guys. But with that, that is our show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Of course, I am your boy, your host, LaShawn Shagray Marston. You were tuned into episode 285 of SR Daily, 285 of SR Daily, 15 more episodes to episode 300. Of course, I want to do live studio audience. But the way my brain is set up right now, I don't have a space. If I had a space, it would do so much. I don't have a lot of money to pay for things right now, to pay for space, right? I would love to rent the studio. Not able to do that, right? So we may not be doing it, or we may be doing it small, intimate in my crib. Or may not do a live audience for episode 300. I'll keep you guys posted. I'm working to keep my spirits up today. I'm a little frustrated, but we're gonna be okay. Gotta go get myself together. Go get a massage this morning. Said Fusen Kofa, peace and love. Mona said, I learn from my students, my children and students each day. I'm a forever student. Absolutely. The Good Foundation, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Said, be great and make it a great one. We are doing it. Have faith. Good Foundation gave strong. Appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in, my brother. But yo, listen, guys, I'm your boy, your host, Sean Ray Marston. Tune in tomorrow, same time, same place. 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. right here on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and we will be also streaming on my phone to Instagram Live. Remember, it ain't getting knocked down. That's the problem. It's staying down. So get up. The power is in you. As always, be kind to yourself. Be kind to each other. Till next time. Peace.